Rassie Rasmus and the Springboks have just announced their squad for the Rugby Championship, and there are a couple of interesting players that have been left out, and there's a couple of interesting players that have made the team. As you can see, we're back in the studio, we're back in Cape Town after sort of a 2.5 week South African tour, which was absolutely phenomenal. If you haven't seen that content, go back and check on the channel we had such a good time there. As you can see, my Springbok jersey isn't hung up yet because it's still in the wash. And just before we get into this video, I want to announce something on camera that we haven't put out yet, just because I wasn't sure if we could do it, but I'm gonna stop being scared and just announce it. The goal of this channel by the end of the year is to interview Siya Kolisi and Rassie Rasmus, both of them by the end of the year, and the only way we do that is by making some noise. So if you haven't, please make sure you absolutely mur that subscribe button. Still about 84% of you that watch this channel on a regular basis are not subscribed. It'll help us grow, it'll help us make noise, and it'll help us accomplish that goal as a South African rugby channel, which just hasn't been done before. So mur that subscribe button. Okay, so let's get a couple of things out the way in the squad. Now, Malcolm Marx has been included in the 33-player Springbok squad for the Rugby Championship. We saw him get injured in that second test against Ireland. Obviously, the injury wasn't as bad as we initially thought, and I think Malcolm Marx being there is a massive plus for the Springbok side. We thought that it was potentially going to be Bongi Manambe and Johan Grobler that were going to be partaking in the Rugby Championship, but with Malcolm Marx back, that gives us a massive boost, and I'm happy for the guy because he got injured in the Rugby World Cup last year, and then he came back for the Wales and 2 Irish tests, and then got injured in that 3rd Ireland test. So I'm glad to see him in the 33-man squad. An interesting player that has been left out, and they're saying it is due to injury, is Faf de Klerk. Now, Faf, I don't think he had a great series against Ireland. I thought Grant Williams really impressed in that Irish series. Obviously, then we had Kobus Reinach and Morne van den Berg play in that Portugal test. I thought Morne van den Berg had a very, very good game against Portugal, and we know how good Kobus Reinach is for the Springbok side. So we don't have 4 scrum-offs in the squad this time, but we do have Grant Williams, Kobus Reinach, and Morne van den Berg, which is very, very interesting. It's going to potentially increase that Tony Brown game plan, that attacking game plan. It's going to be interesting to see who we play at fly-off alongside a Grant Williams or a Kobus Reinach or Morne van den Berg. Also, Morne van den Berg and Grant Williams are going to get a lot more experience, which is always great for our depth, sort of moving into that 2027 Rugby World Cup. Then captain Siya Kolisi, there was no doubt about that. We saw Salman Murat captain the Springboks for the first time against Portugal. I think he did a good job in terms of leadership. I'm still not convinced about his performances on field. I do think we have better locks in the South African system at the moment, but I do think Salman Murat is a very, very good leader, and if Rassie Rasmus and the coaching staff see him as a good leader, then he will be in the mix, sort of leading into that 2027 Rugby World Cup. Now, there's 22 World Cup winners in the squad, so it's vastly experienced. I also think there's a good mixture of debutants, sort of building depth, as well as those experienced players. Obviously, we don't have Faf, but it gives opportunities for those scrum-offs. We might not have a couple of other more experienced guys, but we're getting the youngsters some more experience. The 5 debutants, 4 in the squad who got their first caps either against Portugal or Wales or in the Irish series, is Jan-Hendrik Wessels, who I thought had a very, very good game against Portugal. Now, again, it's difficult to gauge the performances against Portugal, but he is in the system. He sort of plays, he can play prop and hooker, so we know how much Rassie Rasmus loves that utility in his players. And I think Jan-Hendrik Wessels, being so young, I think he's 22 or 23, is definitely one for the future. He looks like he belongs on that field, and I'm very excited to see him play against an Australia, New Zealand, or the likes of Argentina. Johan Grobler started for the Springboks against Portugal. I thought he had a decent showing, and Rassie Rasmus has come out and said that Johan Grobler is definitely the 3rd choice hooker for the Springboks at the moment. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him get some game time against Australia or Argentina. I do think, depending on Malcolm Marx's injury, we could even see him play against New Zealand, but I don't think Rassie Rasmus is going to mess too much around with that Bongi Manambe Malcolm Marx combination against New Zealand. The next one is Sasha Feinberg Ngumazulu, who, I mean, has just absolutely burst onto the scene. We saw him come on against Wales. He slotted that sort of 55-meter drop goal. We saw him come on for about 3 or 4 minutes in that first Irish test at fly-off. And then Willie Leroux got injured in the 2nd or 3rd minutes in that second test against Ireland in Durban. And we saw Sasha come and play 77 minutes in the number 15 position for the Springboks. Now, although his first half wasn't that great. I think he was just getting rid of the nerves, trying to settle himself. But we saw how dangerous he can be on the counter-attack against Ireland in that second half. He was a big reason that we got back into that game, that we were able to win penalties in the Irish half, and then Handré Pollard put over those kicks. And then we saw him play 10 against Portugal, come on for Manie Lebok in sort of the 44th minute, and he is just something special. Sasha Feinberg-Ngumazulu is arguably one of the most talented rugby players on the face of the planet at the moment. I mean, he just looks like he belongs in that number 10 jersey. He didn't miss one kick for Poles. He had a great 50-22. He breaks the line open from deep. I mean, he's just a very, very talented rugby player, and I would love to see him start a couple of games at 10 against Australia, New Zealand, mostly New Zealand, and then Argentina. I think Sasha is definitely owns that 10 jersey at the moment. I think he's just under Handré Pollard at the moment, and unfortunately, I think for Manie Lebok, he's probably fallen one rung down the pecking order just because of the performances that Sasha Feinberg-Ngumazulu has put in. The next debutant is Ben Jason Dixon. He had a great test match against Portugal. He's again almost a like-for-like replacement to that of Pieter-Steph du Toit. He can play 7, he can play lock, and we always talk about it, the utility that Rassie Rasmus loves so much. So Ben Jason Dixon is definitely going to get a couple of opportunities in this rugby championship. Then the final one is Morne van den Berg. We have touched on him. He came on, won his debut against Portugal. I thought he looked very, very good. Him and Kieran Horn were very, very good in that test match. Unfortunately, I do think Kieran Horn has not been included in the squad to go to the rugby championship, which is a little bit unfortunate for him. But with the competition so high, with the stakes a lot higher than a Portugal game, it does make sense. The only newcomer into the squad from Wales, Ireland, and Portugal is Ruan Nokia, who's had a phenomenal season for the Blue Bulls. And a lot of people were asking, where is he for the Portugal game? Why has he not been included in the Ireland squad? Well, here he is, and he's replacing Franco Mostert, who ended up, I think it's a fracture or a broken leg, but he's out for 6 months. So we needed someone to come in for him, and I think Ruan Nokia is a perfect replacement. He's had a very, very good season for the Bulls, and he is just a very, very good lock, and I can't wait. I don't think we'll see him in the New Zealand test. We might see him in the Argentina test, potentially in the Australia tests. Then Ivan Ruiz has been excluded from the squad, and so is Pepsi Buthelezi. Now, I do feel a little bit bad for Pepsi Buthelezi. I do think he had a very good game against Portugal. Again, it is against Portugal, and the competition in that loose trio is very, very high. Jasper Visser is still suspended, which means that either Kwagga Smith or Ulrich Loh is going to have to play number 8 against the Wallabies. Ulrich Loh being included in the squad is a massive step forward for him. Like I said in one of my videos that we filmed over the weekend in Bloemfontein, I actually had quite a lengthy conversation with Ulrich Loh's dad, and he was sort of talking about how difficult it is to play in a game like Portugal because there's not much to gain. Well, Ulrich Loh had definitely impressed the coaching staff in that Portuguese test, and now he's been added to the squad, which is absolutely massive for him. We were asking where he was before the Irish series. We were asking where he was for Wales. Ulrich Loh had a phenomenal season for the Bulls, and again, he can play 6, 7, 8 lock. Interestingly, he did come on for Ivan Ruiz in that test match against Portugal. I thought he was going to come on and play 7, but he actually came on and played 8. So we can almost see the inner workings and the thought process behind Rassie Rasmus and Ulrich Loh. So very interesting to see who's going to take that number 8 jersey. I'm sure Kwagga Smith is number 1 on the list, and then Ulrich Loh will probably come off the bench for Kwagga. Then other players that are injured, couldn't be considered, they're busy doing rehab, is obviously Jean Klein, Louis Diache, Steven Kitsoff, Jaden Hendricks, so Herschel Yankees, Kanan Moody still isn't ready with his finger. Edwin van der Merwe, you got to feel bad for the guy. It's such a good test against Wales, and then just got injured in the Currie Cup. Damian Willemse is obviously also not back yet, which is a massive miss, but also when he is back, where we're going to fit him in and the players around him is going to be very, very interesting with the likes of Sasha, Damian Willemse, Manie Lebok, Lukanya Jesse Creel, Willie Leroux. There's just so much depth in that backline. So when Damian Willemse is back, there's going to be a conversation around where does he fit in. Then Andre Esterhuizen is still awaiting his disciplinary hearing for that red card. But other than that, there isn't too much other sort of interesting news around the squad. It's all sort of your normal players that played in the Island Series, that played in the Wales Series. Apelele Rassie has been included, which is massive for him. I mean, we've spoken about how good his season has been for the Sharks. I thought he had a great game against Wales. I thought he had a little bit of a quiet game against Portugal, but maybe that's just because it was a little bit more forward dominant based in that first half, and then the backline really opened up in that second half. Manie Lebok is still in the team, so it's going to be interesting to see where he fits in. Manie, Handré Pollard, and Sasha Feinberg-Ngumazulu are the number 10s. So it's going to be interesting to see how Rassie Erasmus shuffles that and who plays against which teams and how much time he gives Manie and Handré and Sasha. I do think still Manie Lebok is one of the best attacking fly-offs in world rugby at the moment. I think if Rassie can play Manie alongside Sasha Feinberg-Ngumazulu, then Sasha can kick for poles, and then Manie sort of opens up a new attacking system and opportunities for the Springboks. Handré Pollard is still our go-to man. He still is that Mr. BMT in the Springbok squad, but it is going to be interesting to see how Rassie Erasmus shuffles this when he plays Willie Leroux, when he plays Handré Pollard, when he brings in the new guys like Apelele Rassie, Sasha Feinberg-Ngumazulu. So it's going to be a very, very interesting rugby championship. There will be more content coming out this week about this team and who I think should be starting for the Springboks in that first test against Australia. If you haven't, please make sure you absolutely mud that subscribe button. We have a big goal to hit by the end of the year, and we need you guys to help us out with that so that we can do it. Make sure you leave this video a like, leave your opinions and comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.